What up, fam? It's your boy, Slenderboy 2024, streaming to you live. Yeah, a couple things to get out of the way real quick before we get to the next Atari Archives review. I'm already on the second video in this new series. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm gonna review as many of these classic Atari games as I can. But yeah, some housekeeping. So, of course, everyone's messaging me, everyone's DMing me on Xbox Live, and they're telling me, oh yeah, did you see the response video that Slenderman 2024 did? Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. It's quite a treat. I actually recommend you go watch it. Watch it with like a stiff drink in hand. Like watch it with a nice stiff drink in your hand. It's a wild ride. I don't want to. I don't want this to turn into a thing. I don't want to respond to his response. I don't want this to become like a never-ending, chainmail thing where like, okay, I'll respond to his response, and then he'll respond to my response to his response, and it just keeps going and going and going on forever and ever and ever. We're not doing that, fam. We're not doing that. I know people want us to be feuding. I know people want there to be drama. There's no drama. There's no feud. Okay, he's just some guy. I don't even know who he is. He occasionally hacks my channel. He does his weird stuff. He's in the corner spinning around in circles over there. Okay, just ignore him. Just ignore him, and he'll go away. But I'm going to contradict myself now, and because I do need to respond to something. I need to comment on something from his video. He says a lot. Like I said, watch the whole thing. He says quite a lot in that video. But it's interesting that he doesn't respond to my accusation that he is a fan of the 50 Shades of Grey novels, that he reads them. You would think that he would deny that, but he actually chose not to speak on that at all, which is very interesting to me. That to me proves that he either does read them, or at the very least, I don't know, either that or he just doesn't care. He doesn't care if people think he reads them, but I don't know. I think he obviously cares what people think, because he made that response video, right? If he didn't care what anyone thought about him, he wouldn't have made that response video saying that he's not a fake fan. So, I don't know. I don't want to pay any more lip service to this guy. One thing that I forget, this is a little addendum to my Pac-Man double feature review. That went on way too long. I apologize. It's funny how, like, when there's a good game, you don't have, like, a ton to say. And that's what's going to happen tonight with tonight's game, because it's actually very good. But when you have a bad game, like Pac-Man Atari 2600, I went off. I crashed out. I went off on that game. So, but I forgot to mention, do you see this? Do you see this adorable mug that I have? So, true story. Do you see that dumpster over there? This is not a joke. This is a true story. I go dumpster diving sometimes. And because people in my neighborhood, they throw out some like really good stuff. Like there was this couple that like moved out the other week, and like they were just throwing stuff out, and I saw these like vintage Pac-Man mugs. Like, look at that, vintage 1980. And I'm like, oh, are you like throwing? And they're like, yeah, like they're in the dumpster. We're throwing them out because we didn't want to have to, I guess, go to the trouble of giving them to a Goodwill or something. So I was like, yoink, and I took 2 of them. This is fire. This is so fire. This is like vintage. This is actually, from the 80s. But yeah, so a common I should have mentioned this in the previous video. Again, I was just too pissed off at Pac-Man 2600. But what's interesting to me is a common misconception, right? So people think that Pac-Man is the Atari like mascot or logo, and that is not the case. Pac-Man was like sort of like rented out or licensed out to Atari by the people that actually own him, Bandai Namco. Okay, he's their character. He's their mascot for sure, the Namco mascot. He could have been Atari's mascot if the 2600 game hadn't been such a complete disaster. Maybe if that had actually gone well, then he could have been Atari's mascot. But and he is not. I want to be clear. He is not Atari's mascot. Atari is in a weird place, especially now. They're trying to like make all these new games, and they're trying to make these games where they're like, oh hey, let's celebrate all of our iconic characters, like the guy from Adventure, like the guy from Pitfall. They don't really have any characters. So, it's a shame. I mean, the closest they have, I don't go over this in my Bentley Bear Crystal Quest review, But I guess Bentley Bear is kind of sort of Atari's mascot, or the closest one. It's interesting where you know, I bought my 7800 bundle, and the game they chose to bundle with it, the one that, like, you know, whatever highlights or showcases the 7800, is the Bentley Bear game. So not Pac-Man, although there is a 2600 plus bundle that includes the Pac-Man double feature game that I have. So there you go. But yeah, just a quick little aside on all of that. But let's stop stalling. Let's get to tonight's main event, because it's I don't know, a brisk 20 degrees outside or something. I'm dying. Yeah, like if I mentioned this, I might have mentioned this before, but I got a kind of a smorgasbord of 7800 games, because the Atari website, they were doing a thing where you buy 4 and get the 5th one free. So I was like, oh, you know, that's a pretty damn good deal. So I have Food Fight here. That is a classic arcade title, and it was only ported to the Atari 7800. So this is one of the killer apps for 7800. This alongside Ninja Golf, and trust me, that review's coming too. So this is one of the few killer apps for the 7800. Let me read the back, and of course they recommend you play using the joystick, which did not come with my console. I still plan to get it at some point, but this shit is pricey. Atari, like, how can you charge over $100 for a 7800 console in 2025 and not include the freaking joystick? You just gave me the one gamepad. All right, let's go in. So you can have 2 players. Food Fight. You play as Charlie, trying to eat an ice cream cone, but first you must avoid the chefs that are out to get you. Angelo, Zorba, Oscar, and Jacques. Avoid the food thrown at you by the chefs to get the cone. You can also throw your own food at the chefs to slow them down. That's pretty cool. Yeah, no, Food Fight is freaking iconic. It's I've been messing around with it. It's possibly my favorite arcade game, at least right now. I love this cover art. It really reminds me of a couple of things. The Max Fleischer cartoons. It reminds me of the Astro Boy cartoon, which also in turn I have to do my Nickelodeon reference. It reminds me of that art style from My Life as a Teenage Robot on Nickelodeon, which was obviously going for an Astro Boy art style. It's that like retro 50s, you know, art style that I absolutely love. And they've, you know, beautifully recreated the game, the manual, the box art, you know, the whole, like, get it out, goddamn. Yeah. There it is. Food Fight. I mean, there really is it's an arcade title. There really is no end. I haven't, you know, quote unquote beaten it. I looked it up, and there are a whopping 125 freaking levels to this game. I've only gotten to like level 30 or so, but I've gotten a decent gist of what the game is. Again, I do think you need the joystick to play it. I'm having a little bit of trouble. It's hard to explain, but like when you're playing, you're throwing the food in like not just the 4 cardinal directions, but there's also diagonal throws, and there's so many times where I screw that up because I'm using that bullshit you know, fake joystick attachment for the gamepad, which doesn't work. The same thing I was using to play Pac-Man. So there's so many times where an enemy is attacking me from above, and I'm trying to, you know, look forward and throw my food forward, but it's either like, you know, diagonal right or diagonal upper left, and so the food misses my target, and then he hits me, and then I die. I've had a lot of kind of cheap deaths because of that, where you really need, like, you know, hair trigger precision and reflexes and accuracy, and you're not quite getting that with the gamepad. This was $33. You know, like I said, the more expensive games like Pac-Man Double Feature, they're $35, and they give you a much better booklet with more background information. This was the more basic model, $33. So there's no like specialness that they just kind of give you. But I do love the silver, you know, sheen, the silver coloring. So yeah, let me just read this real quick. And again, yeah, they really want you to use the joystick. Once there was a fellow named Charlie Chuck. More than anything, Charlie loved to eat. Did he love to chuck food? So when he went to the carnival one hot summer day, he headed straight for the food fight contest. And that's important, because when I'm playing the game, I was kind of like, hey, why is the ice cream cone like melting so damn fast? Oh, they do explain in the manual. it's a really freaking hot summer day at the carnival, okay? So, and then there's all these difficulty levels. I'm just playing at intermediate. I don't know why there needs to be like 4 different difficulty levels for every freaking game now. It's a little much. Okay, so let's go in. How Charlie wins is just desserts. Depending on the game level, Charlie has 3 to 8 lives and battles 2 to 4 chefs. Angelo, Zorba, Oscar, and Jock. Oh no, not Jock. If Charlie uses up his last life, he's cooked for good, buried under an avalanche of food. He starts with vanilla. Each ice cream cone takes exactly 32 seconds to melt. Yep. At the beginning of level 1, Charlie's poised at the right side of the screen. A vanilla ice cream cone beckons him from the opposite side. I do love like the wording. I love the language of the manual. It really gets you psyched for the game, to be honest. Charlie's poised on the right side of the screen. A vanilla ice cream cone beckons him from the opposite side. In between are stacks of food and 3 manholes. To win, Charlie must race to the ice cream cone before it melts, without falling into a manhole, touching his opponents, or being walloped by flying food, compliments of the chef. So there's a lot of obstacles, there's a lot of hazards you have to dodge to get that ice cream cone. The game begins. Suddenly, Angelo and Zorba pop out of holes and take off after Charlie. Lickety-split, Charlie runs toward the cone with the chefs at his heels. I like that lickety-split because it's a little joke because Charlie likes to lick the ice cream cone when you beat the level. He can thwart them by hitting them with food or forcing them into manholes. That's something I've never quite mastered, getting them to go into manholes. You get more points by doing that. I just throw food. I either dodge them entirely or throw food at them. The chefs can put an end to Charlie, but he can only stop them temporarily. Within seconds, they reappear out of the manholes. When Charlie reaches the cone, the chefs retreat until the next round, and he swallows the cone up in one quick gulp. Yeah, and then it keeps going. Level 2, Oscar joins his chef buddies, and the battle continues. This time, Charlie races toward a chocolate cone. By the time Charlie reaches level 3, he also faces Jacques. Oh no, not Jacques. Through round after round, Charlie heads off all 4 chefs, and the pace picks up. He must dodge as many as 10 manholes and fight for up to 8 piles of food. To complicate matters, the chefs and the manholes aren't always in the same positions, and after level 6, neither is the cone. Yeah, and they give you some strategies as well. One cool strategy is you want to hold on to some food. You don't want to use up all of your ammo, because when you exit the level still holding food, you get to keep that. You get to keep that going into the next level. So you're going to start the next level already armed. You know, you don't have to run down to the bottom of the screen to get more ammo. You know, food is what I mean. You can start off the next level right away. You know, chuck a burger at the chef right in front of you. You know what I mean? Like that. That's essential. You have to keep at least one piece of food with you when you exit the level. The game is fire. Again, 7800. Think of like NES graphics. The direct competitor was the NES. These are stunning graphics for the time. Nothing like the 2600 graphics. 7800 graphics as prime. Food fight. I love Charlie's little animations. Like it's great when you're aiming your food to throw it. You see his eyes. His eyes like move, and his arm cocks in a different direction. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. You know, the graphics, the visuals are fantastic for the time. When Charlie dies, his eyes like spin around. He does like a cute little animation when he dies. Like I like that. And even when he eats the cone, he kind of does a Scooby-Doo thing where he unhinges his jaw and swallows the ice cream. It's kind of disturbing, but again, the animation is fantastic for the time. One other thing I need to point out is there's an instant replay feature, which I believe it has to be the first of its kind. Like holy shit, when did this game come out? This game is ancient. This game is early 80s, isn't it? 1983. Yeah, that's it has to be the first example of this feature. So take a look at this special feature. If he plays like a champ, Charlie sees an instant replay of his last round. This has only happened to me once when I was playing. But yeah, literally, you'll beat the round, and then a little screen will flash, and it'll say, great job, let's see that again, that type of thing. And then they'll show you, what you just did, which, again, for the time was groundbreaking. I watched a little video on this because I was very curious what triggers it. The manual isn't very specific. It just says if you play like a champ. Like, what the fuck does that mean? So it doesn't happen all the time. It's only like every 5 levels or so it will trigger possibly, and it has to be a situation where you did something really impressive. And by that, the one video I saw, the guy explained like if you have a near miss, like if a chef throws something at you and you like just dodge it, like by like a couple pixels you dodge the attack, then the game recognizes that and says, okay, we're gonna replay that little level you just did in front of your eyes. And again, I can only imagine how awestruck gamers were, how groundbreaking that was for 1983. You're watching an instant replay. That's nothing nowadays, but like, holy shit, for the Atari, that was crazy. Yeah, it's a very simple, straightforward game, but sometimes that's all you need. It's an arcade game, you know what I mean? It's possibly my favorite arcade game, at least at the moment. It's certainly leagues above Pac-Man 2600. Even Pac-Man 7800, I like it, but it's Pac-Man. I think I just appreciate the variety. I've played Pac-Man, so many different versions of Pac-Man. Even though I love Pac-Man for my 7800, I think Food Fight is actually my number one at the moment. It is a very, very fun game, and it's one of those you can just pick it up and get a little bit better each day, play it a little bit at a time each day. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. It's a legendary game. It's a must-have for the 7800. I know this is a shorter one. I didn't go on for 40 minutes, 45 minutes for once. But yeah, I mean, when it's a good game, it's a good game. I really don't have too much to say about it, to be honest. If you so happen to have a 7800 or you get one in the near future, yeah, put this to the top of your list along with Ninja Golf. All right, see you later.